Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. In a rapidly changing Middle East landscape, tensions between Iran and its allies remain at a boiling point. U.S. President Donald Trump's aggressive stance on the conflict has led to a surge in oil exports from key regions. But what does this mean for global markets and geopolitics? Tonight, we'll break down the latest developments as Trump is sending top advisors to Pakistan to resume talks with Tehran. We'll also examine a U.S. legal advisor's surprising justification for an Iran war. That's coming up next. As tensions escalate between the U.S. and Iran, a key player is poised to reap the benefits of the conflict: American oil exports. According to Axios, the United States' surge in oil exports has been linked to the recent tensions in the Middle East following Iran's involvement in the region. The Strait of Hormuz, a crucial shipping lane for global oil supplies, has been blocked due to heightened military activity between Iran and its neighbors. As a result, many countries have turned to the United States as an alternative source of oil exports, taking advantage of America's vast shale reserves and improving refining capabilities. This trend has boosted U.S. oil exports, with some analysts estimating that shipments could reach 3 million barrels per day by the end of this year. President Trump has been vocal about the benefits of this increased export capacity, touting it as a key aspect of America's growing geopolitical influence. However, experts warn that there are significant infrastructure limitations that will ultimately constrain further growth in U.S. oil exports. The Gulf Coast ports and terminals are already operating at maximum capacity, and any significant increase in shipments would require significant investments in expansion and modernization. Moreover, environmental concerns and regulatory hurdles may also limit the extent to which U.S. exports can expand. As a result, while U.S. oil exports have undoubtedly gained traction, it remains to be seen how far this trend will continue. The infrastructure limitations and regulatory challenges that lie ahead will likely put a ceiling on further growth in American oil exports, making it essential for policymakers to carefully consider the implications of this surge. As tensions between the U.S. and Iran continue to escalate, a high-stakes diplomatic mission is underway in Pakistan, led by key advisors close to President Trump. The White House has confirmed that U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are heading to Pakistan to resume negotiations with Iran over the ongoing war between the two countries. The talks aim to bring an end to the nearly 8-week conflict, which has resulted in significant loss of life on both sides. According to a statement by White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt, Witkoff and Kushner will meet with Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Araghchi in Islamabad. The meeting is seen as a positive development, with Leavitt stating that the U.S. hopes it will be a productive conversation that moves the ball forward towards a deal. Araghchi has announced a tour of Pakistan, Russia, and Oman to explore potential avenues for reopening peace talks between Iran and Israel. This trip comes after he led an Iranian negotiating team in the first round of talks with the U.S. The talks come as both sides remain at an impasse over several key issues, including the blockade of Iranian ports and the lifting of sanctions. The U.S. has demanded verifiable assurances that Iran will end its nuclear program and lift its own blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, while Iran has insisted that the U.S. must first lift its blockade before talks can resume. One potential area of compromise being explored is a proposal in which Iran would parcel up its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. In exchange for lifting the U.S. blockade, Iran could agree to dilute sequentially the enrichment level of each parcel. This deal could potentially pave the way for a long-term solution to the crisis and bring an end to the violence that has gripped the region for months. A U.S. legal expert is pushing back on long-held international norms, arguing that Iran's decades-long pattern of aggression could justify military action. The U.S. and Iran have been engaged in an escalating conflict since February 28th, when the United States and Israel launched airstrikes on Iranian targets, killing Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and much of the country's leadership. The strikes, which took place just days after inconclusive talks between U.S. and Iranian negotiators, were aimed at destroying Iranian missiles and annihilating its navy, according to President Trump. The attacks have sparked a heated debate among legal experts, who say that they were unjustified under the United Nations Charter. The The UN Charter states that member states must refrain from using force or the threat of force against other states except when force is authorized by the UN Security Council or used in self-defense. However, the U.S. has argued that it was acting in self-defense and defending its ally Israel, citing decades of Iranian aggression. State Department legal advisor Reed Rubenstein made these arguments in a statement released days before a May 1st deadline for the Trump administration to obtain approval from Congress under the War Powers Act or move to end the conflict. The U.S. claims that it was targeted by Iranian proxies and missile strikes, and that Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons is a threat to global security. However, Iran has long denied these allegations and maintains that its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes only. The situation remains tense, with many countries watching as the conflict escalates and wondering what will happen next. Following a tense standoff in the Middle East, U.S. lawmakers are weighing in on the latest developments in negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program. The situation in the Middle East has taken a concerning turn, with Senate Armed Services Committee Chair Roger Wicker signaling that negotiations with Iran are over. This comes as tensions between the U.S. and Iran continue to escalate, particularly over the Strait of Hormuz. The strategic waterway is crucial for global oil supplies and has been a point of contention between Washington and Tehran. The concerns stem from recent attacks on commercial vessels in the region, which have raised fears of Iranian aggression. Senator Wicker's comments suggest that Senate Republicans have grown increasingly pessimistic about the likelihood of reaching a peace deal with Iran to reopen the strait without further U.S. military action. Involvement from key players is also noteworthy. The radical successors of former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei are seen as untrustworthy by Senator Wicker, highlighting concerns that any potential agreement may not hold long-term. This echoes earlier statements from Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Admiral Mike Gilday, who have emphasized the need for robust measures to deter Iranian aggression. The implications of this development are far-reaching, with potential consequences for global oil supplies, regional stability, and U.S. interests in the Middle East. As tensions continue to rise, it remains to be seen how the international community will respond. The fact that negotiations appear to be over suggests a growing sense of urgency among policymakers to address the crisis. With no clear solution in sight, one thing is certain: the situation will continue to be closely watched by governments and markets around the world. As tensions between global powers escalate, a new development has emerged that threatens to compromise the military might of a key ally in Asia. The United States has significantly reduced its arsenal in case of a potential conflict with China over Taiwan. According to reports from The Hill, since the Iran war began on February 28, the U.S. military has used nearly all of its long-range stealth cruise missiles, which were originally meant for use against targets in the Middle East. The dwindling number of missiles comes as tensions between the U.S. and China escalate over Taiwan. Beijing views the self-governing island as a part of its territory, while Washington sees it as a key ally in the Indo-Pacific region. The conflict has heightened concerns about the potential for military action by either side. This development raises questions about the effectiveness of U.S. defense plans for a future conflict with China. With nearly 1,100 long-range stealth cruise missiles used up, the U.S. now has fewer options to defend Taiwan if it were to come under attack. This reduction in armaments could undermine U.S. ability to respond effectively to any potential threats. The implications of this development are significant, as it suggests that the U.S. may not have sufficient military capacity to protect Taiwan from a Chinese invasion. The reduced arsenal also highlights the challenges facing the U.S. in defending its alliances in the region, particularly in light of Beijing's growing military presence and assertive policies towards Taiwan. And that's all for tonight's recap. We'll continue to follow the developments in Iran and its impact on global politics. Thank you for watching. If you want to stay up to date on the latest news, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We'll bring you the facts, analysis, and expert insights as the situation unfolds. Until next time, good night.